Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of my Fortnite Creative Zombies tutorial. What I've done since the last episode is off camera, I've just extended the amount of weapons I have on the wall to purchase. In the last episode, I created this system that basically makes it so when you enter the area, zombies can spawn, and when you leave the area, zombies can't spawn. Now this system only covers the ground floor. I have 2 floors. So what I need to do is just quickly extend on this system. To do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the player counter, and I'm going to copy the first barrier, its trigger, its spawner, and the props. Once I've got all them selected, I'm just going to make sure that I've picked them all up. Once I know I've got them all, I'm going to copy them over to the right hand side. I'll temporarily place it here. What I want to do is just go through each device and rename it to the appropriate room. Now that I've done that, I'm going to rename this to Floor 2 Player Counter. I'm now just going to move it so it's in a better position. Now I want to go into the Floor 2 Player Counter, and I want to make sure that this device only points to room 5. So if there's anything in here that says room 4 or room 3, 2 or 1, I just want to delete them out of the device. The same thing needs to be done for each device. Once I've made sure all them settings are correct, all I need to do from there is select the barrier device, the barrier mechanic, the trigger and the fiend spawner. And what I need to do for my map is copy it another 3 times. Once I've done that, I'll go into each device and rename them all to the appropriate rooms. The last step after renaming all the devices to the appropriate room is to just go into each device and make sure that the devices only point to the mechanics that they belong to. Now that's set up, I'll just test the map to make sure everything's working properly. Now that I know the system's working, it's time to make some perks. The first perk I want to make is an Insta Kill system. But before we begin that, I need to set up the zombie health. What I mean by that is I need to place the creature manager and a trigger over here by our round settings. This is going to control the zombie health, the zombie speed, and basically any settings that we want to change that affects the zombies. And this is going to be enabled through rounds 1 to 5. So I'm going to rename these. The creature manager will be called 1-5 creature manager, and the trigger will be called 1-5 creature manager trigger. Just got to make sure that the spacing is proper so it doesn't confuse me. So now that's done, I'm just going to get the name of this device, round 5 end trigger. I'm going to tell this trigger to disable when round 5 end trigger triggers. And then I'm going to come to the creature manager. I'm going to do the same. Round 5 end trigger when it triggers. Now I'm going to enable the creature manager when the 1 to 5 creature manager triggers. So when this trigger here triggers, it enables this. It will be enabled from the game start. This just allows me to basically change a zombie's health dynamically. Once them functions and events are complete, what I need to do is go into the creature manager setting and set up its health. Set up its damage to the player. Set up its movement speed. Make sure that it affects new and existing spawns. And that's it. Now that's done, I'm just going to come over here and set up the Insta Kill system. For that, I'm going to use an elimination manager. In the elimination manager, I'm just going to rename it to Insta Kill Elimination Manager. Once I've renamed it, I'm going to go into the settings and come down to where it says Run Over Pickup and turn that on. That means when the creatures drop an item and I've run over it, my character automatically picks them up and it'll activate the Insta Kill. In this device you can control the drop chance. This will make it so it's rarer for things to drop. I'm going to leave it at 100 for now for testing purposes. After that's done, I'm going to place a timed objective device and go into its settings and rename it. I'm renaming it Insta Kill Timed Objective Device. This timed objective device controls how long the perk lasts for. I'm going to leave it at 30 seconds. And then I'm going to go scroll through and change a few more settings. Now that's done, I'm going to go back to the Insta Kill Elimination Manager and I'm going to find the timed device in the list. It will be called the Insta Kill Timed Objective. Now we've done that, what we need to do is actually affect the creature's health. So I'm going to place another creature manager, go into the settings and rename it to the Insta Kill creature manager. I'm going to go into the settings and change nothing but the health to 1. Now we want to change the functions. We want this device to enable when an object is picked up from the Insta Kill elimination manager. And we want it to disable when the Insta Kill timed objective device completes. The last step after that is just go into the creature manager and scroll down to where it says enabled on game start and make sure that is off and the affected creatures is new and existing. And then the last step is simply dropping an item into the elimination manager. I'm going to use these eggs because there's multiple eggs and I can keep it more consistent on my map. So now that mechanic is set up, I'm going to start the game and make sure it works. And as you can see, it's working. There's just one more thing we can do to make sure that the system doesn't break and to make sure that, say, if I kill one creature and it drops an insta kill, then I kill another creature and it drops another insta kill, I want the device to restart. What I'm going to do is go into the insta kill timed objective device and scroll down and find the insta kill elimination manager and basically restart the timer when an item is picked up. That will just make it so insta kills are stackable. So if there's 10 seconds left and I pick up another insta kill, it'll restart the timer to 30 seconds. One last thing we can do is make sure that in the future when we add different zombie types that the insta kill system will work. So what you need to do is just copy the creature manager multiple times to cover the different zombie variants that you have in your map. So I'm going to have 4 different zombie variants in my map. One is going to be fiends, one is going to be red fiends, one is going to be a ranged, and one is going to be the brute. Just a quick update on the insta kill mechanic. When I was testing it, I noticed that zombies went from walking to running when I picked up the perk. That is because this device was not set to the same movement speed and damage as the device over here. So what you're going to have to do is over by the insta kill mechanic is make sure that the damage to player and the movement speed is the same. And another thing we need to do is disable this spawner. Another thing we need to do is disable this elimination manager when the round 5 end trigger triggers. That means that this insta-kill system will only be active during the first 5 rounds. And when we come to implement more rounds, we will implement another insta-kill system. With that fixed, let's get on with the rest of the tutorial. The second perk I'm going to make is a nuke. To do that, I'll use another elimination manager and an item granter. Once I've placed them, I'm going to rename them. This one is going to be called Nuke Elimination Manager, and this one is going to be called Nuke Item Granter. Once I'm done that, I'm going to come into the Nuke Elimination Manager and I'm going to change the Run Over Pickup to On. After that, I'm going to go into the events, and when an item is picked up, I'm going to find the Nuke Item Granter and grant the item. The last thing to do on this is just chuck a consumable. For that, I'm going to use the and as before, I'm leaving the drop chance at 100% for testing purposes. Once that's done, I'm going to drop the amount of coins that I'm going to reward each of the players for picking up this perk. I'm going to go into the item granter settings and put the receiving players to all. On grant action, I want to keep all, and I want to grant the current item. Once we've done that, we're going to go back into the elimination manager, and in the events, on the item picked up, we're going to find our fiend spawners. Now to test just this perk, what I'm going to do is come over here and find the setting, enabled at game start on the Insta Kill manager, and turn it off. That way I can just test the nuke. So I'm going to start the game and test. And as you can see, when we killed the creature, it dropped an Eye of Sauron. We picked it up, it killed all the creatures in the area, and we was rewarded 500 gold. There's just one setting that I forgot to change in the elimination manager for the nuke, which was the target type, and make sure that it's just set to all creatures. Now that's done, I'm going to set up the max ammo perk. I'll place an elimination manager and another item granter. I'm going to make sure that I rename both of these. This one is going to be called Max Ammo Elimination Manager. And this one is going to be called Max Ammo Item Granter. Now that's done, I'm going to go into the Elimination Manager and do the target type to all creatures, and change the run over pickup to on, and I'm going to leave everything else at the default. Once I've done that, I'm going to go over to the events and say on item picked up, and I'm going to search for the max ammo item granter and tell it to grant the items. Once I've done that, I'm going to take the max ammo item granter and just move it over here for a second. I'm going to drop ammo types into it. Go into the settings, and I want to change these settings. Receiving players is all. On grant action, keep all. Grant all items, and grant condition always. And the last thing to do is select another item to put inside the elimination manager. I'm going to choose this egg. And as before, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the nuke and disable it, just so I can test the max ammo. Now that's done, I'll test it to see if it works. As you can see, what was happening was when we was full on ammo was dropping all over the floor. So what we can do there is come to the item granter and scroll down and find the setting where it says drop items at player's location and put that to never. That will stop the map from filling up with ammo. Now that's all set up, there's one more perk I want to add, but I'm going to leave that for the next episode, as it's going to be the death machine, and I need to improve the player spawn system to include more teams so I can correctly set it up. So that's going to be all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing for more. Thank you. Bye.